subjects math, science, ELA, and social studies, and art as an extra. This year in math I learned about a lot of things. Some skills are similar shapes, geometry, algebra, the Pythagorean theorem, solving equations, the box and whisker plot, and graphing. The work sample that I chose was a poster that I did in math, and it was about the Pythagorean theorem, and that's the subject that I chose to introduce to you today. The definition for the Pythagorean theorem is
I don't know if I just did anything there, but I know. Yeah.
Maybe the lunch is dirty.
It's pretty good.
We'll listen to you attentively. Yeah.
the definition for the Pythagorean theorem relates to the three sides of the Pythagorean theorem of the triangle. The equation for it is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I know like a and b represented already known side lengths, and c is supposed to be the hypotenuse, and it's supposed to be the side that you're supposed to figure out. It's like usually the slanted side of the triangle, and the opposite to the right angle is mostly like referred to as the hypotenuse. A and b are the sides that are like adjacent to the right angle. The reason the Pythagorean theorem is only used on right triangles is because right triangles only have one hypotenuse, which is the slanted side. If you have a triangle other than a right triangle, the Pythagorean theorem more than likely wouldn't work as well, I guess. This is an example of an equation that I solved, and I'm going to solve one to you right now. So this is side A and this is side B. So you have to go through all the steps. So step one is a squared. You have to write out the formula. And then after that you have to square these sides. You have to put them like without solving them yet. So 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. And then, so after that you you have to multiply 5 times itself, which is 5 times 5, and that's going to be 25. And then 12 times 12 is 144, and that equals c squared. And then but when you add those two together, it's 169. So you have to find the square root of 169. So that equals c squared. The square root of 169 is c, so that's 13. With the poster, the example that I used for the poster was it was supposed to find which way would be better to go through Boston to Weymouth and then to Woonsocket, or from Boston to Woonsocket. And from Boston to Weymouth is 18 miles, and from Weymouth to Woonsocket is 45 miles. So I had to use an equation, like the Pythagorean theorem, in order to find the distance from Boston to Woonsocket. And these are the steps that I did for it. So first I did a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so I wrote out the formula. And then after that, I did 18, I squared 18 and 45, so that equals c squared. And then 18 times 18 equals 324. And then times 45 equals 2,025. And then you have to add 324 and 2,025, and then you get 2,349. So you have to find the square root of 2,349, and that equals C. So I found that out, and the answer is C equals 48.5 miles. So from Boston to Woonsocket is 48.5 miles. So that's a better way to go than to go to Weymouth and then to Woonsocket. And now we're gonna move on to ELA. My one school goal for the subject is genuine curiosity, because it's easy to me and because I asked the math teacher a lot of questions while I was learning this, theorem. And now we're gonna move on to ELA.
Let me get this.
This is my ELA portfolio part. So my ability as a reader has changed over the course of the year, because I usually, a weakness that I had in reading before used to be, whenever I would get, when I was not focused while I was reading, I would usually, lose my spot or not be able to read the word correctly. But an improvement is I've improved on that, and I don't lose my spot anymore, and I focus on my reading. And then a strength that I have is, that when I read books, I I get into the story, I jump into the story, so it's kind of hard for me to stop reading a book now. And books helped me start using transitional words while I'm speaking, so that helps me a lot, and it'll help me in my future to get a job interview. And then my ability as a writer has improved also. And some strengths that I have are I do use transitional words also in my writing now, and I think that would help me go through high school and college and graduate and pass. And then I have started to organize my essays well without having to ask questions or anything, and I do them by myself. And the weakness is when I'm bored and I'm writing by hand, I do slack off. And I do slack, and I don't make the story interesting when I slack. The books that I read this year are Inkheart, The Chinese Cinderella, The Story of My Life by Helen Keller, Fallen Angels, Ask Me No Questions, Night, and The Contender. But I'm still in the middle of reading The Contender right now. My favorite book that I read this year is Night by Eli Wiesel, because it was a very sad story. I like fiction books, and it seemed like a fiction book, but because it was something that was unimaginable to happen during the Holocaust, it was something sad, and I really liked it because it was interesting to me. What I learned in ELA this year were 6 things: plot, essay writing, poetry, how to use transitional words, new vocabulary words, and I've had tests on them, and how to take good notes and how to revise my essays and things like that. I enjoyed essay writing because I have a very creative mind and I use good vocabulary. When I write essays, I make up stories to give me more imagination while I'm writing, and if it's an easy story, then I do enjoy telling people stories, so it's easy for me to write essays now. Now I'm going to hand out to you an assignment that I had in ELA class this year. It was just a few months ago. It was a genre study.